Okay, so I actually started this project on Tuesday, November 1st, with the help of the ISU greenhouse caretaker, Sunshine. I was there for like an hour or so discussing seeds, planting strategies, and in the end we settled on 2 different potted gardens with a variety of blue sweet corn, heirloom corn, cave beans from the Anasazi people, tepary beans, fava beans, pumpkins, buttercup squash, spaghetti squash, sunflowers, and Rocky Mountain bee plant. Alright, this is day 1 of viability test. These have been soaking since yesterday around noon, so it's been about 22 hours. Alright, so the verdict is we're going to wash all of these, put them in new water, let them soak for another about 24 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and wash all of these, make sure they have clean water so they don't rot or anything, and we'll go from there. Yes, I'm aware that that's a lot of seeds. Now, if you've been counting, you'll know that I'm planting more than 3 different types of, seeds. And actually what I'm planting here are 4 sister gardens, not 3 sister gardens. So the idea of the 3 sister garden is basically expanded on when you add a 4th sister. I don't have an exact date for the creation of the 4th sister, but sunflowers were the more traditional flower choice for a 4th sister because they're there to keep birds away from the other plants and act as a trellis for the beans. The seeds can feed the birds and they keep them away from the corn, which means you have more corn for the humans to harvest and then eat. In the second pot, I actually planted a creamy, which is known as Rocky Mountain bee plant. It's a native to Idaho. It's a type of mustard with really pretty purple flowers on it when it grows. My guess would be that this is to act more of like a magnet for bees to help them with other plants, like the pollination process and stuff, but also it's just really pretty, and that was the other flower seed I had, so we went with that one. And I also have all of my sources linked in the description of the video, so if you're actually interested to see where I got my information, you want to read more about the 3 Sisters garden and how to plant one and stuff, go crazy. Alright, welcome to greenhouse day 3. Today is planting day, so we let the seeds rest for about 48 hours or so. I have a couple that are sprouting already. The heirloom corn and the sunflowers already have seeds popping up. All the beans look super robust. We're not so certain about the blue corn and the buttercup squash, but I'm gonna plant 2 different gardens and we'll see what ends up sprouting. Alright, so this is the soil I'm working with. We've stuck newspaper in the bottom just so that nothing will seep out of the really large holes. I've got a shovel here, I've got my gloves on. There's no good way for me to film this, so you're just gonna have to trust that I'm gonna go through the dirt, weed it, stick it in the pots, and I will let you guys know when we come back in and start planting. Okay, so I started with an heirloom corn from some local Native American tribes. I think it's Shoshone, Bannock, and a couple other ones. Sunshine found the seeds for, and basically they're trying to revive them or try to get closer to older seeds or more traditional varieties of corn. So that's what I started in the first one, and then I also added the cave beans and the tepary beans, which are both a little bit more traditional as well, and then I added pumpkins for pumpkin's sake, and sunflowers, which is also the more traditional option for the 4th sister, if you can call a 4th sister traditional. Jury's still out on that one. I don't know. And then the second pot, we added the fava beans, the buttercup squash, and the spaghetti squash, some Rocky Mountain bee plant, and then the blue sweet corn, because I think blue sweet corn is really tasty, and that was another variety of corn that we had, so that's what we tried. Alright, so we are planted now. I have 1 tub here with these beautiful little labels, and then 1 here with the labels. Oh, there you go. Down here, and then the tapia bean on the other side because that's where it's placed, so I know it sprouts. And now it's just gonna water, and then I'm off to get lunch because I'm hungry. I'm checking in now from the liberal arts building because this is what we're dealing with today. So, if you needed another reason as to why I'm planting inside, this is it. So this is our more traditional pot, and here we have we have a lot of the sunflowers blooming. Let's see. There's a couple there. There's this tiny sprout right here that, judging on the placement, is probably an heirloom corn. And then garden pot number 2, there's some sweet blue corn that's actually popping up right here. Again, it's the same small little seed. We've got another one right there. It's been a few hours, but here we are to check on my spaghetti squash. And actually, I think that it started getting a little bit of new growth since I put it in a wet paper towel, and it looks like the other seed might be sprouting too. So that's exciting. Alright, so there's been a break in the storm. It's been snowing for about 24 hours straight. And that means it's good enough weather to walk over to the greenhouse Alright, so we made it to the greenhouse. I'm in my room now with my little plants right here on the corner. And I'll give you guys an update first because I'm really excited. So much stuff grew. And then we're gonna plant our spaghetti squash and then jet out of here. Okay, so this is pot number 1. This has our cave beans, pumpkins, heirloom corn, sunflowers, and also the tepary beans. So there is so much life. I'm so excited. We have at least 2 of our 4 sisters up. Alright, for plant 2, I'm probably gonna dub over this because the greenhouse heater just turned on. But we have a bunch more corn sprouts. So far, that's about the only thing that's come up in this pot, but that's not to say that there won't be more. Everything is actually planted now. I've labeled the spaghetti squash just because I only have 2, so I know where those ones are at. Alright, good morning everyone. It is Thursday, so this is the last day I'm going to see my plants before the weekend hits again. So, fingers crossed for a lot of growth. I can see the sunflowers sticking over the edge of the pot, so the sunflowers are very happy. And it's time to go check on everything else. First and foremost, the sunflowers are absolute monsters. They're everywhere. I probably planted too many. We might have to weed or transplant some of them, which is sad, but also good because it means stuff is growing. So the sunflowers are good. The corn is taking off. You can see some of the empty sunflower shells around the bottom of the pot. And this has me the most excited. I think this here and this one down here are actually the first bean sprouts. Alright, and then we have pot number 2 with our buttercup, creamy, fava beans, sweet corn, and then also my spaghetti squash as well, which you can see, I believe, is doing pretty well right here. We have obviously a bunch more corn in the center, and there goes the heater again. So far not a lot else, just mostly corn and 1 squash plant, so this pot isn't thriving quite as much. Today is a little bit of a weeding day because the goal was to overplant, and then weed out just to make sure everything sprouted, and I overplanted and everything sprouted, so we get to weed and take care of these, but they're so big. So we've got our corn shoots that are sprouting up right here. We've got our beans, and this right here are some squash leaves. This squash, let's see, let me follow the plant all the way down. All right, so that is a buttercup squash right there. It looks like, unfortunately, and here's another buttercup squash, my spaghetti squash, which were down there, had to be cut to make sure the plant could grow. I'm also not seeing any creamy sprouting, but we have corn. Actually, this is a bean. We have corn down here. We have beans here, and we have 2 squash plants in this first one. So, pot number 2, everything else has also shot up. So we have a bunch of our heirloom corn here in the middle. These are gonna be the cave beans. because they're on this side of the pot. And then over here we have our pumpkins, and it looks like a bunch of the sunflowers are growing up too. You can see these back here. These with the fuzzy stems are the sunflower plants. These are going to be the squash plants, and then the bean plants look like they're going to need to start trellising soon because they're getting pretty tall. So we have successfully a 4 sisters garden and a 3 sisters garden. All right, good morning everyone. Today is Thursday, and this is the last day that we're gonna check in on the plants before I have to go to present them in history. So everyone is looking beautiful. What I think I'm gonna do today, because some of these beans are getting tall and flopping over, is I'm gonna start staking them up just so that they have that support.